Over the weekend, I shared an article regarding divorce and how many people look at the subject of divorce and generally would say, you need to either be committed in the marriage and stay no matter what, or you should basically treat it like a dating relationship. When you're not happy, when it's not convenient anymore, when you're not getting out of the relationship what you want out of the relationship, it's time to move on. And I think the challenge with divorce in general is that it's ripping apart a relationship and a family. And we have to acknowledge that. We also have to acknowledge that sometimes there's no other way. When the safety of the family, when the safety of the spouse, when the safety of the children, with the mental health of the children or the spouse are in question, why would we stay in a marriage when the divorce could provide safety and stability? Now, I know this is a hot topic, and I know that it's a challenge when you talk about someone else's decision in their relationships, because it always seems like you're meddling. I want to approach this from a little different standpoint today, though, because after I shared the article, and there were a lot of comments about it, I had a conversation with a few people around it. And some of the people that I talked to have experienced abuse in a relationship. They've experienced marriages that have gone bad and they've had to give up. And they've experienced marriages where there were tough times, but they've also survived through. My wife and I will be married 23 years this year. And the first 10 years of that marriage were not what they should be because I wasn't the man that I should be. And I have to be honest and say, it was nothing but the grace of God and the patience of my wife. Those two things blended together that saved our marriage. There's no doubt in my mind about it. I wasn't the man God made me to be while I was addicted to pornography. Not even close. I was impatient. I was angry. I was demanding. Not the man she intended to marry. But 10 years in, God began to awaken in me something entirely different and begin to change me into someone else. In the 11th year, she began to see a new husband. And a lot of people would say to my wife, you're crazy. Why would you stay for 11 years to find the man you thought you married to begin with? And often she'll remind them, when I first started praying for God to change my husband, God's reply was, I want to change you. Now, I can't tell you what God wants for your life. That you're going to have to seek first the kingdom and find the answer for yourself. If you're in a relationship that is a danger to your health, you need to seek wise counsel. And you'll have to make a decision for what God's going to do in your life. But I can tell you that our marriage has lasted as long as it has because my wife was willing to stick it out. Now, you've got to ask the question, I ask it all the time, why in the world would you stay when it wasn't heavenly bliss? When every moment wasn't happiness? What made you put up with me, with the conditions of our marriage, with 11 jobs, 9 moves, 4 kids, and the first 7 years of our marriage? Why would you do that? And her answer is odd. I'll give you that in a moment. Because I was reading this morning in Put Your Dream to the Test by John Maxwell. On page 87, there's just a little short piece that I want to share with you. It's about leadership, and it answers the same question that I asked my wife. It says, keep your eye on what's important to you. In one of the best leadership books I've ever read, The Leadership Challenge by James Kouzes and Barry Posner, the authors asked John H. Stanford, who was a major general in the U.S. Army, how he developed leaders. General Stanford replied, when anyone asks me that question, I tell them I have the secret to success in life. The secret to success in life is to stay in love. Staying in love gives you the fire to ignite other people, to see inside other people, to have a greater desire to get things done than other people. A person who is not in love doesn't really feel the kind of excitement that helps them to get ahead and to lead others to achieve. I don't know any other fire, any other thing in life that is more exhilarating and is more positive a feeling than love is. Stanford realized that he had to keep his passion, his love for the people, in the forefront or he would not be able to lead them. Many people don't do that. They lose sight of what really matters for them, and as a result, their fire goes out. If you're not feeling passionate about your dream, remember what's important to you and why you wanted to pursue your dream in the first place. As long as you keep that in mind, it will be easier for you to keep the fire burning. Put your dreams to the test. This book is about identifying those things in your life that allow you to move forward, those things that you're pursuing for success, for financial gain, for personal development, for leadership goals, for leadership growth. And it's a powerful look at, have you allowed what drives you in your future to be what someone else told you you should be? Have you allowed what drives you into the future to be the thing that's going to make the most money, that's going to create the most fame, that's going to leave the longest legacy, that's going to let you retire the earliest? If you're driven by those kind of motivators and any of them change, you lose. But if you're driven by the natural love God has placed in your heart for others, to do good for others, to do the right thing for others, if you're surrendered first to God and seeking His kingdom, then the fire and the passion and the love in you will overwhelm all those other things. I remember sitting in a worship service. In fact, it was a 2 or 3 day seminar called Kairos at our church. And as I sat there, I remember having this conversation with God. I really wasn't even paying attention to the rest of the seminar. I was just having this one-on-one time. And as my thoughts began to come over and over and over, I felt the Holy Spirit nudge me, and I heard Him whisper, the reason you're not yet doing what I've designed you to do, what I've made you to do, what I've called you to do, is because you hate you more than you love the people I've called you to serve. And my level of self-hatred was pretty high at that point. But really what God was saying is, I want you to learn to love them more, love them more, love them more, love them more, until the level of your love for those who are hurting in the area that you're capable of helping them. When that level of love for them is so intense, your self-hatred will begin to fade away. When your love for them and helping them is so intense that you would do anything for them, then you become driven by your passion and not just the things around you, not just the accomplishment of the goal or the finishing of the task, but you're driven by the ultimate passion, love for one another. Oddly enough, the second commandment, right? Love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength. And the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. So what made Karen stay almost 23 years in a marriage that the first 10 years of weren't worth fighting for? When you ask her that question, her answer is always the same. I knew from the very beginning that God gave Loren as a gift to me. And I wasn't going to give up that gift, even though it didn't look like it was supposed to when I first got it. You ever opened a puzzle box for your birthday or for Christmas, and you look at the picture on the cover and you see the vision of what it's supposed to be? And then you open the box and realize that all these little pieces in here somehow have to come together to create that picture. And maybe even the picture that you've created as you've tried to assemble it doesn't look right. I believe what God gave us as a purpose for our marriage was the passionate why that drives us to do what we do. In fact, in her book, The 5 Battle Positions of a Happy Wife, Karen wrote an entire chapter on finding your why. If you're not driven by the purpose that your marriage came together, then all of the inconveniences of life, the relationship struggles, the negativity in that person, the bad mistakes they've made, the things they've done that are mean to you, all of those can steal your attention. But when you focus on the purpose that God put the two of you together in the first place, when you see that person as a gift to you, and realize that part of your work is to put together the puzzle that God's given you to make you into a new somebody, to change you into what He created you to be. When you follow that path, it makes it a little more palatable to put up with the hard times, the tough relationships, the broke weekends, the sorry honey, we're not going on vacation yet again, the summer birthdays when cash flow is low. All of those challenges that you find in your relationship can be overcome. I can't remember exactly who it was who said it. It may be as early as Gandhi. It may be earlier than that. But the phrase is, be the change you want to see in the world. And I think there's a lot of wisdom in that. A lot of wisdom in understanding that the world is not going to become a better place if all of its people are waiting for the world to become a better place while the people are not becoming better. You can't make the other person in your relationship happy, and they're not responsible for your happiness either. You will be as happy as you choose to be. But a happy person is a whole lot easier to be married to than an unhappy person. What if you chose to focus on the why that your relationship is together? What if you chose to focus on the purpose for your marriage to begin with? What if you chose to be happy by choice? How much would that impact the other person in your relationship? How much would that change you instead of them? I'm Loren Norris, and you've been watching Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day.